You know when y'all hear that tune, what time it is? I'd like to thank everybody who is joining in tonight. You know we got a big show tonight. We got a huge show. We're going to go over our picks from last week. We're going to review the upcoming games that are coming out with some big surprises. We got a lot going on. I'd like to welcome all of you to the HBCU Coaches Corner, and I'm your guy, Rocky Miller, along with the host of the show, none other than the legend himself, SWAC legend, HBCU legend, and SWAC championship coach, none other than your man, Johnnie Cole. How you doing today, Coach?
Man, I'm great, Coach, man. How you doing, boy? It's just another show, man. This thing getting hot. We've been getting calls. We've been doing our thing, man, and this show been growing. And, hey, man, I'm proud of that. And I'm glad that have you as my co-host. And, man, look, we getting there, Rocky. We getting there. People believing, everything we talk about, there's some truth to it.
Absolutely, Coach. I want to personally thank you for your many years of coaching knowledge, bringing that to the show, your many contacts. You got contacts from the Pittsburgh Steelers to all the way here back in high school in Texas, guys you've coached, played with, and also coached with. And so we're going to use those tentacles tonight, Coach, and bring on a very special guest as we announced in the open. And for this particular guest, it's a very tough time, Coach. And you always said there's two kind of coaches. What kind of coaches are there, Coach?
Coach, one to get hired and one to get fired. I've been on both sides of that desk.
Yeah, and a lot of times, Coach, the hiring is a huge celebration. There's a lot of fanfare related to being hired. But, Coach, when you let go, it seems to be very unceremoniously done. Let me ask you this, Coach. Do you get a chance to say bye to your players, your support staff, the administration? Do you get that opportunity, or you have to just get that done as you use the phone number, your little black book to reach out to them and thank them and appreciate them or whatever?
Well, as far as saying goodbye to the administration, and it's totally up to the athletic director. Fortunately for me, I've never been let go because of winning and losing. It's always been some controversial deal, and I was able to go back to the players and sit with them and let them know. Or, I was making a choice to move from one team.
A promotion.
Yeah. The thing that I want people to understand, especially our people, HBCU people, coaches get hired and coaches get fired. It doesn't question his character or his ability to be a father to his kids, to be an outstanding pillar in his community. It's just it's a choice that the administration made. I don't like your red shoes, or I don't like what you're doing. It don't necessarily have to do with the coach is a bad person. It's like in black college, if a coach let go, you got these people out here that's had behind all this media, digs all in it, all through it. Oh man, the guy was sleeping with this guy, the guy was doing this, guys, stop that. The guy was alcoholic. Well, guess what? There's a coach down the road from me at the University of Texas, the most expensive football program in the country, was drunk off himself, about to fall off a stage, and now he's the head football coach of one of the most powerful programs in the country. Because, see, they don't get into that. We make mistakes, and we got to get away from that. You know, we as people got to get it because they understand people go through things. Alcoholic, drug addicts, learning how to tame the attitude. It has nothing to do with a person that can get the job done. Nothing.
Coach Cole, as you mentioned, the struggles that coaches may have as a person, as a human being, right? And we all struggle with something, Coach. Let's just be perfectly honest with you. As if you are fortunate enough to be part of this human experience, you're going to struggle with something. There's going to be something that you did master, something that happens.
Right.
The one thing that bothers me, Coach, a lot of times is that when we're evaluating coaches or just public figures in general, right? The truth should be sufficient in most cases, right?
Right.
But if for whatever reason they feel like the truth isn't sufficient, they'll make up things, Coach. And that's what I don't like. Is that they'll simply say things that are very damaging to a person's reputation without reaching out to verify that what they're saying is accurate. And that's what I think is quite damaging in some cases. And I know that you've been a victim of that in a few times. And how do you, as a coach, recover from, to lack of a better word, lies?
Well, the thing that these people don't understand is, you have children, you have wives, you got brothers, you got families, and some of them it's just crucial, and it's more so, Coach, in the black area, because we only got 20 major football jobs and another 20 Division II jobs, so we don't have a lot. So that's why they got the law. If you ain't broke the law, you know what I mean. If you haven't done some egregious, I think that you ought to be able to get up to. We're in America, Coach, and of course, I've lived through that. I've lived through that. I have, like I said, I've graduated from college. I got my master's in education. I got 4 certificates in teaching, in 4 different states, Coach, in Arizona, in high school, and my children, I've married both of my children's mothers that we get along great, Coach. We get along great, and I ain't the first one that's got a divorce. My first wife, for hell, we childhood friends, man. My second wife, we get along, and these guys say stuff, man, just off the cuff, just really, really illiterate stuff off the cuff. And they don't understand that, and I like to thank them, Rocky. I thank because they kept me in the limelight for all these years. Even when I, got let go from Texas Southern, those the same people keep me going. Every year this job pop open, my name is right there. Even when it ain't. The favorite word of a Texas Southern alum is, man, with Johnnie Cole here, that was the last time we won. Yes, sir. That is the last time we won. But time moves on and, the job is open again. And of course, I'm one of the center of it. Whether administratively, my name is there or if it ain't, but, I know some other guys that could be available to take that job, and we'll talk later about what I feel about the job, because I'm the only one that done it since 1968. And before that, nobody else. And I'm the only one in the history of the school to win a SWAC title outright.
Coach, again, the truth should be sufficient for a guy. And like I said, my only deal is if you're gonna make accusations and say things about people, just make sure that they're accurate. I think we have a responsibility to one another as a community. Yes. That when we mention a person's name and we mention their viability about a job or an opportunity, that we speak facts and we know what we're talking about, especially around people that make decisions regarding whether a man continues to operate in his profession or not, whether he gets the opportunity to work in his passion or not. I just think we owe it to one another to be accurate in what we say about those men.
Yeah, especially when you're a public figure. You're a public figure. Somebody holler out and as the old saying say, and you could correct me if I'm wrong. Don't nobody pass on nothing that's good. But when you hear something negative, man, it runs forever. But what we got to get to, and I bring up Muhammad Ali. Everybody didn't like Muhammad Ali. You had people pay to go see him. His mouth, he big mouth. Then you had those people who loved him. But both sides was good for him. Both sides sold tickets for Muhammad Ali.
Both sides bought tickets, huh, Coach? The people that hated him bought just as many tickets as the people that loved him. And the controversy sometimes, Coach, is good for business, for the lack of a better word.
Oh, ain't no question about it that we can understand the media and understand that all bad news ain't bad news. Some bad news is good news, because some people want to come and see you lose. You know what I mean? Some people want to come and see you get torn apart. But there are some people who really come there to support. And it's very important that when you're choosing these head coaches, I hear now that, they're throwing up all these NFL names, and I'm trying to figure out, do you understand that being a head coach is a manager? He ain't necessarily got to know everything. He's a manager. He's a manager of people. You know what I mean? What kind of can he public speak? How is he going to represent the university? How is he going to go out and get a full good staff? You know what I'm saying? Rob, all my coaches in college was pros. Someone was all pros. I mean, all pro, meaning NFL ring of fame. My head coach was an NFL ring of fame, coach.
Wow.
So I've been there. I've been on all those levels, coach. All those levels. I've been at the Division I schools. You know what I mean? The PWIs. I see how things are structured. I've been at the low PWIs. I see how things are structured. And of course, my journey through the HBCUs.
Yeah, Coach. As we talk about this, we can talk about this as we wrap up this college season, and you bring up the controversy around hirings and how it can kind of, ignite interest in a program. And that brings me definitely to Coach Prime. And Coach Prime has been in this, after having started out 3-0, now he's lost 8 straight games, Coach. But to be honest, this year is a win for the program. When you look at the interest of the program, the profile of the program, this is a huge interest. This has created huge interest in the Colorado program. And there's no way that you can say that, what is the Deion experiment at Colorado is a failure.
Well, one thing, Rocky, why I started this show and wanted to get involved with talking about HBCUs and coaches, because I want to salute them. You know what I mean? I know what they go through. We got some great coaches that come through this conference, and they never get talked about. When I was coming through the Ohio Valley Conference, there and all the coaches before my brother was, and it's been some great coaches come through the OVC, but they were white guys and they were getting these jobs, Boise State, Arkansas State. They were leaving the OVC, getting these small Division I A's. So we run through there. We run through there and win back-to-back championships. I'm waiting on somebody to call my brother, but he got to deal with black stuff, at Tennessee State. Oh, well, we're not going to give you a raise, and he making $75,000. Don't won 2 back-to-back champions. The only and last black college in the country to ever finish #1 in the nation, and we got to go through this stuff. You know what I mean? And That's what I'm talking about as far as helping ourselves. We need to help ourselves. And that's why one thing I reached out to Eric Dooley, and he's gonna come on in a minute. That man, Dooley is a sharp guy, coach. He's a sharp guy. He's a great dresser. He loves his family. He's a family man. It just so happened that things didn't work out, and we're gonna hear his perspective. I think he deserves that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I disagree with getting rid of a coach after 2 years, especially with his pedigree. But we'll talk about that there. But that's why I started the show. Guys, HBCU, stop hating. Be positive about your coach or your coaches. Let them handle their personal life on their own. That's none of your business. Your business is how he runs that program. If he's running that program the right way and they winning, because at the end of the day now, Rock, you gotta win. You gotta win for old cold now. Hey, look, I'll rub you, but you gotta win. You gotta win.
Well, Coach, you guys know that. If you don't know, I lived in Waco most of my life, right? And at the end of the day, anybody who knows about Waco, Baylor University is a rock's throw from my front porch, right? I live very close to Baylor University. And the reality is that they went 1-10 several times. But then they hired the right guy, which was Art Briles. And even Art Briles, a guy with a winning pedigree, a guy who had been in coaching probably 25 years by the time he got the Baylor job, it still took him 4 years to make it to a bowl game at Baylor.
Right.
So this stuff, I understand that even with a super competent, very professional coach, it takes time to build a program. And me and you've talked offline, Coach Cole. I don't know if it's the influence of Dion or what. It seems like these programs have gotten very impatient over the past couple years. And for whatever reason, they don't have the patience to allow a coach to build a program that it seemed like they had in the past. Seemed like.
Yeah, hold on, Rod. I got Coach Dooley on the other line for a minute. Coach.
I'm about to. I'm gonna do it from my phone.
Okay, you can stream. Fine. Yeah, stream from your phone.
Check this out though. I'm gonna try to hold on to questions on Southern. I'm still working on some stuff.
Yes, sir. Yes, we got that. All right. All right, Coach. We got just be question about the Southern stuff. He got some deals where he worked. I tried to call it earlier, but we'll be very nice.
Yeah. Coach. Look, from my perspective, I just couple things. Coach Dooley, we have to acknowledge that Coach Dooley went to the SWAC championship last year.
Yes,
right?
Sir. Yes.
And I recall how he was celebrated. He was celebrated when he took the Southern job. He was almost like the prodigal son coming home to save the program, right?
Yes.
And 2 years later, this is where we are. And I want his perspective to tell us how we got here from the day he was hired to this point. Give him an opportunity to tell us how we got here, because we know what we think. We know what we think. We all have our opinion, but this is a platform where a coach can come on and give his perspective. And I think that's it. I think that's important, because normally coaches don't get a chance to give their perspective, especially if they don't get another opportunity to address the question. Coach, go ahead.
HBCU coaches don't. Once they grown, once they let go, that's it. They off in the sun. They don't get to come and broadcast games and be invited to different type of media outlets like all the other coaches, where they can. I mean, we got HBCU TV Go. We got ESPN. Why are head coaches not being able to leave from being a head coach over to the sideline, to the mic, be an analyst, standing around? when we're done, well, we're done. So hopefully this platform give them that opportunity, hey, just to talk football.
Absolutely.
Just to share with other folks. Because we don't get that caveat to move on to social media. These coaches do this program. They bounce from that program to this program. They bounce from that program to this program. They go, for getting let go at this school, they on ESPN. Then they get another job. Then they on ABC. Shit, we can't even get on. I got to talk with the HBCU Gold, just to try to be an analyst. So, hopefully this platform can build that and to build our coaches and let people really get to know our coaches, from being able to call in and talk football.
Absolutely. And Coach, this is a great deal that you created. Great idea to talk football, and those are the kind of questions I want to, as much as I want to ask Coach Dooley, there are some ball questions that I want to ask him. He's been, my daughter's alma mater, he took them to a SWAC championship 2 years ago. And now, and then he went with Southern. I'd like to ask him, what the support at each school looked like. Was there a difference? Things like that. Even from a standpoint, from a resource standpoint, was there a big difference in between coaching at Prairie View? Well, he's coached at Grambling, Arkansas Pine Bluff, Southern,
right,
and Prairie View. Those are the kind of questions that we want to, as you could say, the ultimate resume of a coach is wins and losses.
Yeah.
And nobody gets to hide those, right? Nobody gets to hide those. But there are some aspects of coaching, Coach, that, to be honest with you, the general public is not aware of. I remember you telling me a story where you won a conference championship with significantly less scholarships than your opponents. We don't know. I didn't know you had, what did you say, 7 scholarships, and in the conference you were playing in, they could offer up to 36. That's a circumstance to me that creates an inequity. That how does a coach overcome that? How do you end up winning the championship? How do you end up winning the championship when you're given 7 scholarships and all of your opponents are given 36 scholarships? How do you win? Those are the kind of perspectives that we don't understand as fans. We don't know that as fans. Right. We don't get that inside baseball. And I appreciate you having this platform, Coach, to allow us the opportunity for coaches and people inside the game to really explain the circumstances for which they had to coach under. With no further ado, Coach, I think we have our guest has arrived.
Man, hey, is Dooley on there?
Yes, sir. No, he can't hear us now. You want me to go ahead and bring him up, Coach?
Yeah, bring him up. Bring my man on up. Look, Coach, I want my polka dot, baby. I know you gonna be clean. So I put the polka dot on tonight, baby. The Louis Vuitton polka dot. You
always clean.
Coach, man, look, I followed your career, fabulous career. I ain't saying it's over, but man, Coach, you've got a resume, man, that really, man, we should be pushing you to the NFL, Coach.
That I appreciate that, but I'll tell you this here. I know my purpose. I understand my purpose, and I think my purpose is to try to impact these young men to be better citizens, regardless of what, Of course, the dream is always to push them to the NFL. But then at the end of the day, if I can put a couple of degrees in their hand and have them to be successful, to go back to where they came from and make life better for other folks that's in that neighborhood, I think my impact has been well served. I tell folks all the time, I love coaching football, but I think it's my ministry, 100 yards of glory. And that's where I think I have my platform, where I have an opportunity to reach and impact young men's lives.
See, Rocky, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? They don't know. There's always another half to these HBCU coaches, man. Because you coach because you care. You care about young folks, and I'm glad you shared that with us, Coach. Coach, you graduated from Grambling. You coached at Southern. Did you take over Mark Orlando as a coordinator?
I did not. I did not. I just stayed. I hung around and continued to learn and groom myself. Didn't try to grow so fast. I just continued to learn, and then I got my first opportunity to go to University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff as a coordinator, and
Right,
it was a
right.
blessing ever since that working with Coach Coleman.
Now you know I was a little jealous of you because I used to be the sweet guy at Southern. The young coach with the 32-inch waistline with the 42 chest. And I'm like, who is this guy coaching my wide receiver? I had the sweet six when I was down there. We won a national title, but that's when I was like, man, I like this guy. And I seen your career and I followed you all the way up. So and I'm
That
glad
that 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 helped groom me. I knew I had some tough shoes to fill. Hey, I had some tough shoes to fill on and off the field. I had to make sure I dressed the part. I had to make sure I had those wideouts playing. So I had some tough shoes. I understand what I was coming behind.
That's right. That's right, Coach. That's right. That's right. Go ahead, Rock.
Hey, Coach Dooley, my name is Rocky Miller, Coach. I jumped in the HBCU space about 4 years ago with Coach Prime, and so I've been covering and been a fan. And when you got, and I'm a Texas guy, so when you jumped on when I jumped on the scene, you immediately took Prairie View to a SWAC championship. So and that was a awesome experience for my friends who are PV alumni. They find themselves in a SWAC championship this year, and so I know you know a lot of guys on that staff and whatever. Can you just tell me what you think about the job that Bubba McDowell and his staff has done about taking a team that you used to coach to the SWAC championship?
Fortunate enough, I had the opportunity to know Coach McDowell before I even came to Prairie View, and was allowed and was able to keep him on as a defensive back coach. I knew, he and I had been going against one another, him working in the secondary, me being a wide receiver coach as an assistant coach. So when I had the opportunity to get that job, he was one of the guys I already had contact that I wanted to keep because I knew what he brought to the table, and just to groom those young men. We kind of had the same, we had the same goal, and we had the same philosophy. But the most important thing, the vision was the same. When you have that same vision, you can accomplish a whole lot. So he stayed around and did a great job, and I brought most of those guys that are there with him now. They came as one of my assistants, and they stayed on because they saw they had an opportunity to do some things, and they wanted to be special. So those guys are just growing within the profession. The great thing about I would say two of those guys that's on that staff that's in prominent roles right now, I coached as players. They were former players from me, and then they had the opportunity to work with me. I never say work for me, work with me. They had the opportunity to work with me, and now I'm just smiling to see that both of those young men are doing a great job. When I talk about Rock Alvin Fosserman, and I talk about Mark Frederick as the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator.
Hey, Coach Dooley, I must ask this question, being that you are where you are now and PV is where they are now, Coach. In hindsight, do you regret taking the Southern job at all?
I never second guess myself. I'm always been a praying man. That the Lord has always ordered my steps. And when he ordered my steps and give me an assignment, I take on that assignment. And I try to do the best of my ability. So I never worry about second guessing myself because I have a praying family. I have a great wife, and my daughters, they right there with me. So when we pray and we get that answer, we know what we need to do. We know what our assignment was to do.
Now,
Well, hey,
Coach,
Coach, I respect that, Coach.
yeah, you coached at UAPB, you coached at Graham, you coached at Southern, you coached at Prairie View. Does all three have the same flavor, or if I would say which one did you enjoy the most, which would it be? Even in the Southern years when y'all were kicking tail.
I think each experience was different for me, but I thought at that time God was pruning me. He was preparing me. So I had to take a phase from each area that I went to prepare me for a time to be a head coach, for a time to be an offensive coordinator. So I think I took, I always learn. I think learning is every day. I think learning is learning what to do and what not to do. So a lot of time that regardless of who it was, I always learned. So I thought each spot was very, very valuable to me. When you get an opportunity and you was fortunate enough to as well to coach up under a legendary Pete Richardson, you got to be able to take something with you that's going to help you. And then I had the opportunity to coach with for Coach Coleman, who was a man of God as well, and played 16 years in the National Football League. I learned a whole lot from him as well. And then you go coach for someone that's younger than you are, and a lot of folks have that mindset of, well, he's younger than me, I know more. No, I submit to authority. I understand what my mission is, what I need to do to help him, and because if I ever get that opportunity, I don't want to be sitting in the same shoes that he would be sitting in if I say he's much younger than I am, and I'm his offensive coordinator. So I learned a lot from Coach Five, a lot of things that I do now. I took with me. So I kind of got best of all the worlds that I was in to bring with me to try to help me be successful wherever I've been.
When you left out one, you didn't hire me because then I'd have been older than you. Then I'd have been up underneath you, and then you could have learned something from. No, I'm just kidding with you, Coach.
Coach Dooley, I want to ask you a question because I remember when Coach Rollins was let go, and the entire Southern fan base they would have moved you at that point. They would have moved your things from wherever you lived in Texas all the way to Southern so you could have that job. They really wanted you to have that job. It was almost they had one united voice to hire Coach Eric Dooley for that job. And Coach, it's as we sit here, do you know where your relationship with the fan base kind of soured, or what went wrong, or was it administration? I'm still at dumbfounded as to how we end up here 2 years later with you being the former coach of Southern University.
Well, I still have a great relationship with a lot of the fan base. They're very passionate in what they do. They love their Jaguars, no question about that. They're going to travel. They're going to fill the stands. So I've always gotten along with everyone. I never had an issue with getting along with anyone. So I would say that I still have great relationship. I do understand the business wholeheartedly, and I think everyone else does as well. So there's no feelings toward any fans. I love them to death. Everywhere I go, I feel that the Lord has placed me there to do something. And when my assignment is done, then I know things have to take place. But as far as the Jaguar fan base, I love them to death. I'm still in close friends with a lot of them. I still communicate with a lot of them. So there's nothing there for me. A lot of folks like to say, are you bitter? No, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. That's the B word I like.
Well,
I tell you, Coach, I thought it was a perfect fit myself. You being growing up there kind of in your career, and then you bounce around because at one time at Grambling, you had the opportunity to go to UAPB or Prairie View, right?
Yes, absolutely.
What made you pick Prairie View over UAPB?
And I had a lot of great years at UAPB. And again, there it is again. I can rely on my family and myself. We prayed on it, and I had to find out where God wanted me to go at. I don't like to sound all holier than thou, but that's what I lean on, for the Lord to order my steps, because once He ordered my steps, I don't ever have to look over my shoulder and say, was this the right decision? I know it was the right decision. It's all about timing, all about what He has for me to do.
All right, Coach, can we talk a little football, Coach?
Absolutely.
Coach, with the struggles that your offense had at quarterback, right? Do you think you, as the play caller, was put in a position to where you couldn't win? Do you think if you had a buffer, kind of like what Mike Tomlin has with Canada at Pittsburgh, a buffer in between you and the production of the offense, could you have possibly saved your job or been able to hire somebody else to do that job to kind of give you more time?
Well, I tell you this here. I'm a very, very confident young man. And when you talk about football, I'm very confident. And I don't ever want folks to take that for cocky. I'm confident, and I work hard at what I do. So I just think this the time. It was an off year with the offense, not what I'm accustomed to. So that's where it is. So it's nothing that I can say that could have changed or need to happen. It's just what happened. It's just a time for me, a new assignment.
Yeah, now, Coach, like you said, you won the championship. I mean, you went to the championship. Um, did you have enough time to get the right people in there to do to play your kind of football and your kind of offense?
Well, I always like to hit the ground running. I'm a guy, and Cole, you and I have been knowing each other for a long time. I don't make excuses. When you give me the opportunity, I'm going after it. I'm going after it 100%. And whatever I feel that I can do, I'm going to try to make that happen. If it doesn't happen, then it puts me in a situation to where it don't have me to sleep at night because I believe in winning. That's what I want to do. That's when the wife get involved. Like, you need to get some rest. No, I can't get no rest. I got to get something right. I got to get this right. Something is not going the way that I know it should go. But at the end of the day, decisions are made, and I'm good with it. I like where I'm at right now. What I need to do, I'm very confident. The thing is, the biggest question is, will you coach again? Absolutely. God just have another assignment for me, and I'm just waiting on. I'm being patient, and just letting the opportunity present itself. And would I hire an offensive coordinator? Yes, because I want to be the head coach. But sometimes you got to stir that pot yourself to get it the way you need it to be, and then move forward.
Hey, Coach, let me ask you this. You say you definitely want to coach moving forward, and there are coaches. There's about to be a season of hiring all over the country. We're talking PWIs, HBCUs. Coach, it, would you consider coaching outside of HBCU football at this point?
I tell you, I'm a football coach. That's what I get up and do. Even right now, that's what I get up and do. My heart is in the HBCU because I want it to be at the high level, to whereas our commission already has it going into a direction to whereas one of the best conference ever. And that's always been my mindset, to see how can I remain professional at all times and bring this up to a higher standard. No, I can't do it by myself, but that's always been a goal and a dream of mine. Um, I'm a guy that's been taught long time ago, never say never, because you just never. And I don't know right now where my assignment would be, so I'm definitely open. But my biggest thing that I'm very confident in, that I will be coaching.
Yeah. One of the things that I don't know if people know, especially maybe the Southern fans, that you had some turnover culture wise this past year. I know a couple of guys that you interviewed for, but you had a new quarterback coach, you had a new wide receiver coach. And I know that's your specialty, but did that play a role in slowing your offense down this year?
I think the foundation was there. Of course, when new guys come and new things happen, they came in, hit the ground running, and did the things that was needed to be done. Just one of those things. And when I kind of look at the whole conference this year here, it's not the conference that I know of that scored a lot of points. Uh, of course, you can't keep saying scoring all those points, but they got defensive coaches too. They got to play a role in that as well. And I think we got some excellent defensive coordinators within this conference that study the game just like we study the game. So it becomes a chess match, at some point. But I'm very confident some things going to turn around and get it to what I'm looking for. And that expectation is extremely high. I don't think I would ever reach my expectations, because it doesn't matter if I score 100. I feel I should have scored 101. So it don't really matter about the point scoring. It's just if I can. I guess my biggest thing going all around, if I can impact a young man's life and change it to help him to become a better person. Not saying that he was bad, but to be a better person and a successful person, then I think I've done a great job.
Well, let me ask you this here, Coach Dooley. You got it. As I mentioned, this is my last question, and we can let you go, Coach, because I know you had a small window, but I want your historical perspective on this, Coach. It seemed to me that the SWAC, in the 3 years that I've watched the SWAC, that there's been significant struggles at the quarterback position at many schools, not just Southern, but many schools. How would you assess the quarterback position the last 3 years in the SWAC compared to other times, other periods in SWAC football? And what do you attribute to if the difference, if there is one?
Well, I would attribute this here. It's no question about that. The defense are doing a lot of different things now. You know, they are disguising a lot of different coverages. They're doing a lot of different defense. You know, they're not in that. You know, Coach Cole knows this here as well, and you know it as also. You know, it back in the days in the SWAC, it's you didn't have to call no defense. It's in your face. It's man to man. I mean, it's just cat coverage. That's all it was. So it's a little different. I think, you know, defenses are gotten a little bit more challenging. But they got some pretty good quarterbacks in this conference. You know, I survey and I look at all of them and I try to see where they are and some of their weaknesses, some of their strengths. But we got some pretty good quarterbacks in their own right in this conference right here. It's just each year is going to be different. You know, of course, when you have turnovers, you're going to have different guys coming in. I've been fortunate enough, ever since I've been at the Ham to have some excellent quarterbacks. I can't say that. I guess within this year and last year, it didn't show because of I'm and I don't mean it in a boastful way. I'm used to winning championships, and that didn't get there. But you know, I always like to say it's not just the quarterback. It's called 11-man game, and you know you got to have 11 guys on that field. You know, everybody got to be able to do their part. Of course, he got the biggest part because he's gonna touch that football every down. So it's no question. But I don't think that the talent has gotten not as talented as it was been in the past. I just think you get that year or them years that where you have some quarterbacks that are talented and they've been in the conference for a while, and that gives them the opportunity to grow and become better. But I think the conference always got good quarterbacks. I just think the defense. I don't want to get them off to a bad start. The defense have stepped their game up as well, so they're playing some tough defense.
You know, one thing I like to piggyback off of Coach is saying, you know, and I guess my philosophy is a little different. You know, everybody kind of turned and went to the spread or turned their offense into the spread. And when the spread came out, you know, you're throwing the ball all around, everybody was scoring. I think, like you said, Coach, that the defenses now have caught up. You know, and they've not only caught up with scheming the spread, they've caught up with personnel wise. You know, and now that Coach, you know, when they used to have a thick linebacker, now that thick linebacker now is playing defensive tackle that can run and change and retrace the steps. And then now they're taking them safeties and moving them down. So you almost got six defensive backs on the football field. Because if you could tackle in the open, you slowing the spread down. You know, it's just like, you know, when Eddie used to run the wing T, and he was the only one running the wing T. And then when you start going to get bigger defensive linemen, you know, pushing those small guys back that he had, you know, that kind of slowed him down as well. So I think, you know, of course, like you said, the defense coordinators are getting much better and scheming the spread much better. But I think a lot of it has to do with if I just come out and see 4 wide or 3 by 1 all day, then yeah, you know, that's easy to defend. But I agree with coaches. Coach, these defensive coordinators are really turned it up.
You know, that's a great point. You know, now you know it was kind of like foreign when guys was running the spread because everybody wasn't running it. Now that everybody running, so now you get a chance to see it week in and week out, opposed to this the only time and I only have 1 week to prepare for it. It ain't no difference than when everybody went to the 4-2-5. It was creating problems for individuals. But now you see a 4-2-5 every week almost, and now they put their own little spin. So it's a lot of adjustments that have to be made, but that's why they call it coach. You got to make those adjustments and move forward and get better than the next guy.
What, hey, Coach, can you clarify this terminology? What is cat coverage?
What is cat coverage? One-on-one, man-to-man. Johnny Cole know what I'm talking about. Man-to-man, cat coverage. You got this cat, I got that cat.
And ain't nobody make a mistake. And everybody else split.
Hey, we used to call that cover one back in the day, but that's what I remember that. As Coach, speaking personnel, Coach, do you think with the previous coaching staff having a run dominant offensive attack that affected your ability to reshape the roster into a roster that was more accustomed to passing the ball? Did that affect, the performance of your offense at all?
No, I don't think so, because when you look at it, I know a lot of people get the misconception when they think of my offense that is just pass, pass, pass. For the last 10 years, I've had one of the most balanced offense in the conference, pass to run ratio. I do like to pass it. I believe that you got to be able to do it, but I don't think you should ever become one dimensional. So I've always had a great rushing attack that complement the passing attack, and that everybody have their own philosophy. Some people use the philosophy, I'm gonna use the run to open up the pass, or some people flip it, I'm gonna use the pass to open up the run. It just depends on your personnel, how you want to spin it, and what you're capable of doing.
Well, you got some great coaches down there. Willie Totten, who used to be, we used to go head to head in the SWAC. I think together, me and him threw about 20 touchdowns in 2 games that we played each other. Well, really 3. And Chris Scott, Coach, man, you resurrect a great guy, man, in Chris Scott. He's a heck of a coach. He's a heck of a person, man, and I appreciate you. I know you that type of guy, man. So how you feel about these guys? You had Prime coming in and really no background, and now you got Eddie Robinson in, and he's down there trying to do his thing with no coaching, and now all of a sudden, black coaches like me and you that went to black schools, if we don't have no PWI experience, they won't even hire us at our own school, So I mean, where you are with that, just your philosophy or your thoughts on that.
When I talk to folks about that, you got a lot of coaches that within the conference, I guess, for lack of better words, say have paid their dues and want that opportunity. But here, I have that one philosophy that stands and stick with me, and it's not a selfish one, but it's just I just feel to believe what God has for me, it is for me. So it really don't matter, if that opportunity, if that's where God want me to be at, it's going to be there. As you guys can see, I'm a strong man in faith. That's what I believe in. And I think, opportunities, I think sometimes we got to understand that he's preparing us. His time is not our time. So we can't think of it where it's been 20 years. It may not take 20 years, it may take 25, but when it's 25 years, it's going to be the right time. It's the timing of it. So I don't worry about the time when it happened. Like myself, it took me almost 20 plus years before I even got a chance to be a coordinator. But I never pressured it. I never really wanted to be one. I guess that's one of the reasons why I just wanted to coach the wideouts. That's all I wanted to coach was wide receivers. But then that passion started coming, and as I got more involved and got more knowledge, you can be that young guy coming out running routes all day and playing this position and think you know it, but it's not always that case. You got to learn. You got to learn from guys such like Johnnie Cole. I learned. See, you can always learn when you're looking at folks. I pay attention. That's one thing my dad taught me, to be very, very observant. I observe everything to make sure that I can compete. because I'm a very competitive guy. So I think what God has for you, it is for you. And if that opportunity presents itself, it's going to hit you in the face.
Gotcha, Coach.
All right, Coach Dooley, I want to thank you for coming on with us, Coach. I know this is, maybe a difficult time for you and your family around the holidays, but I wish you guys nothing but the best. Is there anything you like to say to your Southern fans, Southern alumni about your experience the last 2 years at Southern, and anything you like to say to them?
Yeah, to the Jaguar Nation, I like to say thanks for the opportunity, for giving me the opportunity to come back home. Some folks treated me like I was the prodigal son. I came home, and, after going all around. But I'm very, very appreciative. I had so many folks to help me while those 2 years. So again, I'm never bitter. I'm blessed, and I understand that. So I just like to thank them for me even I say, in a lack of better words, putting up with me for 2 years. So now, the opportunity to just to come back home and be around family, people that I know that gave me the opportunity. I'm grateful and I'm thankful. So hats off to the Jaguar Nation. Once again, thank you guys for allowing me to be a part of their lives for 2 years.
Man, I appreciate you, Coach. I've watched you. You've always been a man of faith. I've watched how you handled yourself. Man, you've always been first class. And like you say, man, there's a future for you in this game. That's if you want it. And I look forward to seeing you back on the sideline.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you guys for having me on just to speak.
All right, Coach.
All right.
Thank you so much, and happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, sir.
Same to you guys.
All
Wow,
right, that was none other than the former Southern head coach Eric Dooley. Nut show proved to be nothing but a class act. He came on this show and talked about his experience as Southern coach. It's not always an easy thing to do, to talk about the institution that fired you in such a glowing manner that Coach Dooley did. But like I say, he showed nothing but class, and I want to appreciate him for coming on and talking about it. Now I want to say this: a lot of you guys had a lot of specific hard questions, what you would consider hard hitting questions for Coach Dooley. We didn't bring him on to embarrass him or to put him on the spot or belittle him in any way like that. We brought him on so that he could give his version of what happened and share with us what he wanted to, right? If you guys want to ask him all of those questions about why didn't he play this, why did he play that, at the end of the day, that doesn't matter anymore. The man has lost his job. He's going to move on, and Southern's going to hire a new coach. And I just want to show my appreciation for him coming on the show, because if not for him, a lot of you guys wouldn't even be here right now.
And Coach, this is the only show he's been on. The number
Absolutely.
one show, only show he's been on, number one. And number two, he's still going through negotiating the rest of his contract. So he's got to be really careful about what he's saying and what he do, But, I just, this show or our show, Rocky, we believe that he should have had at least another year. I don't think you go to a championship 1 year and then the next year. Dang, that happened to me, huh, Rocky? I don't believe you win a championship and then you go on the next year. You know what I mean? I think you get a man a chance.
Well, what I wanted to get out of it, and I've mentioned this on several shows, Coach Cole, is that I'm just surprised that at all the fanfare that he came into that job with, all the support, all of, like he said, he was treated as the prodigal son that is coming home. Those are words that came out of his mouth. And in less than 2 years, we're at this point. That's what I don't understand. Now, he didn't give us much insight as to why, he's here, how we ended up to this point. But at the end of the day, I respect him for coming on, because a lot of guys wouldn't come on under those circumstances. And like I say, class act, top notch.
I've been told, Rocky, that most of our HBCU head coaches, they shy away from the media. They don't like talk shows. But most of them we don't have that platform. We don't have the ESPN platform. You know what I'm saying? We don't have Fox
Hey,
platform.
Coach Cole, Coach Cole, you're froze. Could you disconnect and reconnect? In the meantime, I want to invite everybody who would like to call in, give their perspective on the Eric Dooley interview. If you were able to listen to it, I want to invite you to call in. Call in at 518-351-9464. Tell us what you thought about the interview. I'm willing to take constructive criticism and let us know. I thought it was a very interesting interview. I wanted to, I asked him to address some of the decisions that he made while he was coaching. He pretty much gave us the same answers that he gave during SWAC media sessions each week. So there was no difference. There was no difference there. And like I say, he didn't change it up. He didn't change it up. He insists that he made the best decision within his ability for the program. He didn't back off any of the decisions that he made. And to be perfectly honest with you, after listening to him in interviews for 2 straight years, I didn't expect him to back off of any decisions that he made as well, because he's definitely stood firm that he thought he was doing what was in the best interest of the program, even though what he was doing was not getting him the results on the field that he thought. Like that's the thing I think that a lot of people were frustrated with, was that the decisions he was making, he had strong conviction about those decisions, but they weren't getting the desired result. And so with that being the situation, right, people wanted him to shake it up. People wanted him to change things. And in most cases, people do. But he didn't. He stuck with the same personnel, stuck with the same system, and rolled it out there each and every week. And sometimes he won, and sometimes he lost. But he did admit that he didn't get the offensive production that he would have wanted while he was the head coach at Southern. So, but I think that's a no-brainer. That's absolutely a no-brainer. Well, Coach Cole is back. Coach Cole, you back with us, baby?
Yeah, I had to step off for a minute, but hey, I'm back.
All right, Coach. There was a lot of, I appreciate Coach Dooley coming on and giving us his point of view. And did the interview go the way that you had expected?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, but I thought we were very professional. I thought that we got some things out of him. We seen. We asked some bullet points about his offense and and how slowed it up, and he pretty much gave his answer. That he just felt like that things just didn't go the right way for him, and that he gave credit to the defensive coordinators in the conference.
Hey, Coach, we have several calls on the line. Do you want to go ahead and take a few of them?
Oh, yeah.
Before we go into reviewing our picks?
Oh, yeah.
All right, caller, with the last 4 of 0187. You're live on the air with on the HBCU Coaches Corner with Johnnie Cole. What's your name and where you calling from?
My name is Terry calling out of Baton Rouge.
All right, go ahead.
And the answer to some of the questions, you say you're not sure how we got here. I can pretty much give you some of the scenarios that we have here in Baton Rouge. I go back to last year. When you have a quarterback that can't even go through and read properly to make the correct throw. We barely skated through last year with McCray, right? And we get to the championship, and Bubba comes in and show you who should have been playing the entire year. And the whole entire year we calling for a change, but you don't have the ability to adapt and change. So that's first thing. Second thing, you come back and do the same thing you did last year. Put high blood in. He didn't have the ability to adapt and change. Okay, we listen to you every week. Tell the fan base we don't understand football. So when you talk like that down to a fan base, you're gonna get the result you get right here. You say, well, you gotta understand football. To me, every week at a media conference, how you don't understand football? We do understand that your quarterback is not inept enough to make accurate throws, to make accurate decisions. We got that. And then when you're not scoring points on offense, and you are supposed to be an offensive guru, then guess what? You're gonna have somebody's gonna call for change. But even if it wasn't for him to leave, at least we would have asked for somebody to have a better offensive outing as another offensive coach or something. That's all we was asking for. We was, but he didn't want to change. And so this at Alcorn, and I'm gonna get off and listen to your analysis. But when you listen to Alcorn players, the first thing they say, we knew what he was gonna run. He said he have certain tendencies. They knew the entire playbook almost. So when you don't change and you don't adapt, this is what happens. So we hate that this type of thing has to happen, but this is business. This is not personal.
Well, let me ask you this, Mr. Collins.
About Dion.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Collins. You made two very, very salient points, right? You say that the quarterback was largely ineffective the first year, right? And he didn't switch quarterbacks. The quarterback who ended up playing the second year, who you admit was largely ineffective, was also on the roster the first year. Could it have been that he didn't have any good options on the roster?
Okay, so that's an excellent question. That's an excellent question. But let me ask you this: did you put anybody else in to find out? See, we could do that all day, because if you don't put another player in to find out what he can do, we won't know what he'll do. That's just like Bubba. Bubba came in last year in the championship game, and what did he do?
I think
Go ahead, Coach Cole is speaking. Go ahead, Coach.
I think what the
I'm sorry, I didn't want Coach Cole to speak.
No, you state what the caller is saying is you got to come up with something else. You got to say what you just said, Rocky. If this is the quarterback I want, first of all, I don't think Coach Dooley or any other coach gonna leave a kid in and want to lose. And if you do, you end up like this. I think if that question that you just asked, Rocky, was true, it takes more than just the quarterback. Most quarterbacks have good people around them that really make them who they are. So, like you said, that maybe coach could have shared some things of saying, hey, guys, I get you, you guys are blaming on the quarterback, because that's why they pay the quarterback all the money, and he get all the PR. But if he don't have good people around him, he's just a guy. And like I said, me and you talk all the time, Rocky, that it's about the team. I've never seen a game with 11 and then one guy walk out there.
Can I
he would have been shared with the fans, hey, it ain't just the quarterback. Offensive line is young, wide receivers ain't getting it done. But if not, sometimes you got to make that change.
Okay, I agree with that last part you stated. But let me say this here too. I know you have 10 other players on the offensive line, on the offense. Yes. But if you have a line, even though they were young, they gave him protection at plenty of times. Still couldn't throw the ball the right way. So whose fault is that then?
Well, I'm gonna agree with you right now, because like what I believe in, Rocky, them W's and L's on them.
Yeah. Your resume is your record. So there's nowhere around it. Hey, caller, I want to thank you for calling in, man. And we're going to go on to the next caller.
It, man. Y'all have a good one.
You too. Caller with the last four of 3408. You're live on HBCU Coach's Corner with Johnnie Cole. What's your name and where you calling from?
Theodore Johnson, calling from Pineville, Louisiana. And I just want to thank Coach Dooley. Good godly man, and I appreciate what he done at Southern. And being honest with you, at the end of the day, I don't think nobody advances from finding a coach. Now you owe Dooley. It's like we're going backwards. And whatever we got to pay Dooley, I think that money could have been put toward making the facilities better, where that we can attract better players that can give coaches like what Dooley wanted to do. They got the speed to get off the line. Because you have to have players with the speed to really do what he want to do. We can get a good quarterback if we got the right facilities. And now you got to have some money to pay the players. But from my understanding, all the money we spending to get rid of Dooley and get a new coach, I think that could have been given to better facilities.
Hey,
and now you go backwards. Now you're going to get really behind in money.
Hey, Theodore, maybe there's some big there's some big donor out there that's going to just buy Dooley out, and you guys could just move on with a clean slate and a full pocketbook with your next coach.
Even if it's a donor, that if you still don't have the right facilities, you don't have the right money to get out and recruit. Even if you're a big donor, that money is still better spent somewhere else than after you spent. You got to have that money to recruit, that money to get the right facilities, the rooms, these new rooms they got with the recliners and the TVs. I went to Southern. I don't think we got that.
Well, let me, last thing, Theodore.
But we got to have, we got to upgrade.
Well, Theodore, let me say this. Would you be willing to accept?
We can be number one.
Theodore, let me ask you a question before I let you go. Would you be willing to accept another 6-5 season just for the sake of not paying Dooley?
But I'm going to tell you this. I've been to Southern. I went there in 85. If I know you're going to do right with the money, and it was before I came, and I looked at some history. But if I know that they're going to do right with the money, I'll take 2 of them. Because I know they're going to be spending money where they need to be spending it. Bringing up the facilities, bringing up the recruitment, bringing up the athletics. Because that's what we want, a good athletic department. If I know they're going to do right.
Well, let me say this. I worked at Southern University. I was down there 3.5 years under Pete. I worked there under Pete Richardson. Mm-hmm. He had 17 seasons there where he only had 1 losing season. And they made a whole bunch of money. And I understand this about Southern University. They depend on that football program to raise money to help fund that whole athletic program. And you got a coach with 17 winning seasons, 5 SWAC championships. I'm going to ask you, where's the money? Because you said something like, if I knew they was going to do right by the money. So money ain't the issue. Southern has money running through there. You got your Bayou Classic, the big money, you got your homecoming.
A guy put online the other day, I ain't fact check it or nothing, but a guy put it online the other day where he showed that USL and USM and Southern, they both got 20 million.
Yeah. So it ain't about the money. The money comes with winning. Let's the University of Miami is because they had championships. Notre Dame is Notre Dame because of football. You know what I mean? Texas A&M just got rid of a coach and gave him $76 million to just leave because he ain't doing what, Rocky? He ain't doing what? He ain't winning.
W's.
They gave him 7. So you know what they said? They said that if we got a winning coach, we can make them $76 million up in 2 or 3 games and pay him off and keep on going. Southern is in the same predicament. You got to have a winner at Southern because they depend on that football program to bring in at least $2 to $3 million a year.
Hey, caller, with the last 4, 3454, you're live on HBCU Coach's Corner with Johnnie Cole. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hey, Rocky, this is Mr. Sargent. How are you doing, brother?
Hey, what's going on, Mr. Sargent? Thank you for calling in, sir.
He's back.
Oh, absolutely. When I saw that you were going to have Coach Dooley on, I upgraded my questions because, I like to be on off script, like to make some jokes, like to have Scotty, like to be funny, I should say. Scotty keeps it that way because that's kind of the spirit of the way things are going. But when you brought Coach Dooley on, I myself, as a man with a family, with kids. You know, I support them because I work. You know what I'm saying? I completely understand what you were saying about wanting to make sure we were respectful in our questions, you know, with Coach Dooley. But I was really hoping to kind of drill down on the question you asked him about whether or not he would take a PWC opportunity, because again, I work for a corporation, but there are 400 corporations, and those are just the big blue corporations, like the humongous, you know, $1 billion companies. But there are all these other small companies as well. And so if I were to lose my job here, I wouldn't just be open to the 400. I would look for all the small ones too, as long as they made my salary requirements, right? We have a theory here at FAMU that says that we are tired of doing more with less. We want to do more with enough. And then our future state is to do more with more. And so I just wanted to hear Dooley say, hey, if I got an opportunity at a university to be the head coach and they had more in facilities, more money, more fan support, he would turn that down to take a SWAC job or a MEAC job. And of course, Rocky, that's not to undercut those positions, but I wanted to kind of understand his mentality about that. And so that was really the statement I wanted to make. Great show, sir. I just wanted to drill down a little bit more on those questions. I didn't want to be disrespectful to Dooley, and if I came up that way, you have my sincere apologies, Rocky.
No. And the reason why I asked that question is because I remember him in another interview saying that his passion is in the HBCU space, and my question was to see if that's changed because of his recent firing, and it didn't seem like it had. You know what I mean? He was a coach that was, you know, when he had a job, he said he was committed to coaching in the HBCU space, and he pretty much says pretty much the same thing. He said, I'm open. He said, I'm a football coach, but you know, we all got the message that his preference is to coach in the HBCU space, and I respect that.
Well, let me say this too, guys. You know, it's almost the thing of, you know, I'm feeling some wet on my pants, and you look up and the guy tell you it's raining, but he really peeing on you. Let me tell you the truth. Some of us, and especially me, I finished in '85. You wasn't going to no PWI schools. You know, let's talk about facts here. Let's talk about what's real. You know, when you got 95%, 96% of all athletic directors in all the college sports are Caucasian, they gonna hire themselves. You got colleges in America in football that has never even hired a black guy. When we all know from the 70s all the way up to now that over 70% of your team is African American. So when he says that, I can feel what he's saying. And I've always tell you all the time, Rocky, how many jobs we got to go after? 20. We got to go after 20 Division I AA jobs. And now we can go after those Division II jobs. Look at the Lone Star Conference. They just hired the first black coach about 5 or 6 years ago. This team out of Incarnate Word. All right. They're making some changes. But our window of going to a PWI is small. It's short. It's, you know, the window is short. So what we do, right? And we open up the show talking about how we cut each other, you know, because everybody knows that when a job opens, everybody gonna cut down the lead horse, or if you ain't my guy. So we gonna dig and we gonna find what's wrong with this guy, what's wrong with this guy. So when he made that statement, I feel him, you know, because, you know, I even feel sometimes there's a window a glass ceiling over my head. And I've coached with John Harbaugh at the Baltimore Ravens. You know, I've got guys that's up there, but the problem is when they get there, do they reach back?
Hey, Coach, we got several callers on the line. We see people calling in and then dropping off. If you call in, we got several people on the line. Just stay on hold. We'll get to you. Caller with the last 49178. You're live on HBCU Coach's Corner with Johnnie Cole. What's your name and where you calling from?
How you doing? My name's Coach B. I'm calling from Florida. How you doing, Johnnie Cole? You Rocky?
Yeah, hey, how you
What's
doing,
going
buddy?
on?
I'm doing okay, man. Hey, man, I appreciate the show, man. I do listen on script. But, man, like Johnny Cole was saying earlier, you got to bear with me now because I kind of stutter.
Okay.
Like Johnny Cole was saying, when you lose a game, you look at two people, the head coach and the quarterback. And like Johnny Cole was also saying, you need everything in place. The dude is the head coach. You got to have an offensive coordinator, O-line coach, running back coach, and receiver coach. In order to compete, whether it's SWAC, REACT, in football, you got to have position coaches. College will be a place where you're supposed to learn. Yeah. Coaches supposed to be teaching kids. Look at the kids already. Tom Brady made a statement about something today. I read he was saying about coaches. It's a coaches shortage. Good coaches like Dooley, and they ain't got SWAC championship. They got to come for something. I think his record is 5-5, 12-10. That's the winning coach.
Well,
that's all I have to say, man. That's a winning coach.
Well, I'll say this. You're right. It is a winning coach. However, the fan base was very unhappy with Coach Dooley, and they were very vocal. And as a athletic director, and your livelihood and your program's livelihood is dependent on support from your fans and your donors, can you stick with an unpopular coach, understanding that your primary job as a AD is a fundraiser, and you holding on to that coach will prevent you from fundraising because of an unhappy fan base? What do you do at that point?
Right. Yeah, let's go answer. Go on with it.
Let's go to the next caller. Caller with the last four of 5899. You're live on HBCU Coach's Corner with Johnnie Cole. What's your name and where you calling from?
Jay from Baton Rouge. Rock, I'd like to thank you. You said you're new to the HBCU world of sports, and I hope thousands and millions of African Americans such as yourself come on home and support HBCU football. Coach Cole, I'd like to ask you.
Hey, are you on speakerphone?
Yes, sir.
Can you take it off speaker and put it up to your ear, because there's a distortion that we barely can understand what you're saying.
Now, Coach Cole, I'd like to ask you, sometimes in the media, some people say the SWAC need to go outside and hire coaches that's not of the SWAC. But sometimes those black coaches at those PWIs look down at the HBCUs more worse than the white coaches. They love being in that white environment at PWIs, and they think that coming to an HBCU is somewhat lowering the status of coaching football. I'd like to get your take on that. Thank you.
Yeah. And this is the bad part about what he just said. He's so true about it. And then when they come in, we open up the pocketbook. Then they'll come in for 3 to 5 years, don't win no football games. And then when they leave, they go talk about what they didn't have and didn't have. HBCUs, and I feel that our schools should be for HBCU guys. And you can find, and back in the 80s, in the 90s, we didn't have this turnover. We talked about this about 2 shows ago in our conference. We had great coaches, they had a lot of trees. Eddie Robinson, of course, stayed a long time. W.C. Gordon. All these guys had guys that had trees. Now you don't even know where those assistant coaches are at. Comegy had James Woody. L.C. Cole had a buffalo of guys. I got a tree. You don't even see none of these guys. All these other guys are popping up out of nowhere, and they're not prepared. They've not been prepared to coach at a HBCU. It's more than about the X's and O's and the Jimmy and Joes. It's about housing. It's about financial aid. It's about a hug. It's about going out and finding sponsorship. It's about trying to turn the program around. We're giving these guys keys to our fancy cars. We're asking a guy to leave a mansion and come to the project and turn this project around. No, there's a kid or man that's grew up in that project to know exactly what that project need to be turned around. But because he don't have PWI ties and we just for some reason, Rocky, don't like each other for some reason. Or I should say don't have the confidence to hand the keys over and say, okay, build this.
Well, I think sometimes, and we suffer from this as an entrepreneur, we times suffer from this when we're marketing to our own people. Sometimes they just think Whitey's ice is colder for whatever reason. And that's just the facts. But I don't think you give up on your people. I think you continue to market your people. You should continue to solicit business from your people, because at the end of the day, the reason why my wife and I have been in business over 20 years is because of guys like you and your family, Coach Cole, supporting us year after year. That's why we're in business, and we don't ever take that for granted. Let's go ahead and go over our picks, Coach Cole.
Yeah.
Go over our picks. Y'all can continue to call in. We're gonna after our picks, we're gonna take your calls though. But,
okay, we're gonna shoot through it, Rocky. We're gonna shoot through it.
Yeah, we can go review through these games, and then we can get to talking about our review, and then we can move on. Hey, if anything strikes y'all want to call in and talk about it, just go ahead and call in, and we'll take your call. Okay, first up.
Alcorn State, Jackson State is a prime reason why our conference is not where it should be. I really feel there's no attacking, no coach. We got to get better. We got to be better. Alcorn, you lose to Texas Southern, who's had 5 losing seasons. You have 1 game to win a championship. You don't win it. Then you come back the next week and beat a good, solid Jackson State team. T.C. Taylor done a great job there with all the transfers and moving around. I got it, man. My hat go off to T.C. Taylor. He's done a great job over there at Jackson State with losing a lot of players and losing a lot of things.
Well, Coach, what surprised me about this game is 2 things, Coach. That really, with nothing on the line for Jackson State, the stadium was packed. The stadium was packed.
I gotta give you a little history, Rocky. Just slow up, buddy. Slow up, buddy. This the Soul Bowl, baby. This the Mississippi Super Bowl, Coach. You know what I'm saying? I can remember a time when Alcorn State was going up in there in Jackson State with a guy named Jerry Rice and Willie Totten. Coach, they had 66,000 people were sitting in the airways.
I think they went to Mississippi Valley, Coach.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mississippi Valley and Jackson State. But that's the Mecca, baby. That's Mississippi football right there. That's catfish, barbecue, all that good stuff. But look, man, that's hey, look, Jackson State always been one of the best attended schools in the country.
Okay, and then coming off and it brings back your alma mater, because I'm gonna go ahead and bring those guys up.
Let's talk about them later, because I need to talk about them for a minute.
Okay.
We don't come back to them.
Let's move into a game. I'm sorry, this score is wrong right here, so my apologies. Prairie View defeated Alabama State. Let me see if I got it on there right somewhere. Well, I don't have the score on there right. Anyway. Yeah, Prairie View defeated Alabama State 21-14 with everything on the line. Coach Bubba McDowell hosting Alabama State. They defeated Alabama State, and for the most part, they had control of the game the entire time. It was no letdown. The intensity was high. I was very impressed with how they came out and played with everything on the line, Coach, against a very formative Alabama State team.
I take my hat off to Bubba McDowell on having them ready and prepared, number one. And Alabama State has been struggling all year offensively. And you got to score points on this level, on the FCS level. You got to score points, and Alabama State has been struggling all year. I think they maybe average close to probably 17, 16 points a game. And they had a great defense. And you ain't going to have a great defense all the time. Hopefully they're not losing a lot of people on defense and they got a year to get this offense going in the right direction. Hat off to Prairie View. You got the big game coming, the SWAC championship game coming this coming week. Hat off to Bubba McDowell and his staff.
Okay, Coach, I got a chance to peek in at this game, and the score really surprises me. Florida A&M defeated Bethune-Cookman 24-7, but it looked like FAMU was sleepwalking the entire game in the Florida Classic. I dare say if they play against a motivated Prairie View team the same way they played against Bethune-Cookman, they may be in for an upset at Bragg Stadium. What did you think about the game, Coach?
I've been watching Florida A&M coming down to the end. I don't know if they just taking everybody lightly. They just not playing good championship football, and I don't want to say the conference is bad because they kind of walked through the conference. It was like, we've only lost to Jackson State the last 2 games in this conference. So now that Prime is gone, we just going to walk through it. And they did exactly that. So I don't know, I don't want to say the conference is bad, but they just not playing what you would think at 10-1, that kind of football. And I know Coach is saying the same thing I'm saying. But this game, Florida A&M, Bethune-Cookman, Orange Blossom City Classic, you can throw the records out. Both teams going to play hard. But I'm like you. Coach Simmons got to get them kids up and ready to go, because Prairie View going to come down there ready to play.
With it all on the line, Coach. With it all on the line. Coach, I have to go back to Texas Southern. And they beat Alcorn State.
Look, Coach, look. Yeah, Coach, go ahead.
They go into the fourth quarter with a 21-point lead, Coach. They go into the fourth quarter with a 21-point lead, and somehow at the end of the game, they end up on the short end of the stick, losing 35-34 to a team who hadn't beat a Division I team the entire year. How does that happen, Coach? Coming off such a big win.
Well, Coach, I'm supposed to be the expert on the show. And some of these things just don't happen to me. Some of these things I can't explain, Coach. I have been that one team to come back now. And that means that I've made some adjustments at halftime. What you're doing, you're not making adjustments. I know that I'm going to encourage my kids to play because I know you're going to make mistakes down the road. And, a broken tackle here, it probably wouldn't have been that way, and that's what I could just say. Coach McKinney has to have those kids ready to go when you're already walking on crackers. And I think that kind of broke the camel's back. That was just embarrassing. It was just embarrassing, Coach, really. I just have to say that.
And, Coach, just to go through these games right here, Howard looked like they're going to the Celebration Bowl for the first time ever. I know Jay Walker is going to be really happy about that.
Yes.
And
yes,
NCCU did what we thought they would do against Delaware.
Well, we hoping that NCCU get a bid to the playoffs.
South Carolina State dominated Norfolk. Coach Odoms is really having a tough time in that league.
Now I hear some rumblings down there. They've been there 3 years. Been there 3 years. In 3 years, you don't supposed to go 3-8, do you, Coach?
Not in year 3, Coach.
Not in year 3.
Hampton lost to William & Mary convincingly. That was to be expected as well. And then you got A&T losing to a 500 Campbell team.
Yeah.
And then with, Tennessee State go, hosting Tennessee Tech at home.
What did I tell you about Tennessee
And they
State?
get Coach, you said it. You called this one. I can't argue with you. You told me they were catfish from the very beginning. You said they were feasting off good programs who are having a down year, and eventually, those chickens will come home to roost. And you
Coach,
are absolutely right, Coach.
They finished second to last with a 6-5 record.
Yeah.
And the 5 teams they beat, they didn't win 10 games.
Wow. And then you got Mississippi Valley on lost to Alabama A&M on Thursday. Looks like that win is going to keep Cornell Maynor employed at Alabama A&M. It looks like him and the offensive coordinator are the only 2 people that are going to keep their job. Look like there's going to be some significant turnover over there, Coach. And so, which brings us to this slide right here, which is, can coaches in the HBCU? Of course, we have none other than Eric Dooley, who was just on our show earlier. If you guys would like to see the interview after we finish this live, you can go back and replay it. Eric Dooley is on the show from about the 8:15, the 15-minute mark, and he gave us at least 20 minutes. Really classy guy, really great interview. Then we have the guy from Morehouse. That job is going to be open. And then, of course, your alma mater, and your name will always come up every time. Well, put it like this. Your name has been coming up while people have had the job, and now that it's vacant, I'm sure it's going to come up even more. And then we have Coach Slater from Clark, Atlanta. He's been let go as well. So so far, it's 4 coaches that are let go that I'm aware of in HBCU football. Do you think, Coach, there will be more guys let go as we get through the holiday season?
Yeah, you got Johnson C. Smith.
Okay.
And I've just found out that the Clark job will be filled. Allen University.
Wow.
Staff. So Allen University will be open. Of course, Chennis Berry at Benedict most likely would not be at Benedict. He'll be probably somewhere else. So we just looking out to see where he's going to end up at.
Okay. All right, Coach. Like I say, we've covered this quite a bit, Coach, but losing a job is tough, not only for the coach, but for his family and his assistant coaches, Coach. You've been fortunate in your coaching career. You've been promoted a lot and moved on to other staffs. But what is going through the head assistant coach's mind as the head coaches let go?
I've never seen. One of the things I hear sometimes, we talk about hiring staffs. And I keep telling these guys, when you're hiring staffs, stop hiring all these young guys on the staff. You got to hire some folks in there that know either more than you or just as enough. But their answer to that is, well, I don't want to hire my replacement. Well, I guarantee you nobody on Dooley's staff is going to get that head job. Nobody on Slater's staff going to get that head job. And nobody on Coach McKinney's staff is going to get that head job. You need to make sure, and these athletic directors, make sure when you hire these head coaches that they know what they're going to get as far as hiring assistant coaches. Because it's really, at the end of the day, the assistant coaches coach the team. The head coach coaches the coaches. He oversees the coaches. And so you got to surround yourself with coaches and choosing a head coach. I know at my alma mater, Coach, I like to say that we need to hire a Texas Southern guy. If it's not me, then who? We got, Brett Maxey out there. We got Durrell Colbert out there. We got James Jones. We got some Texas Southern guys that's out there, and we need to hire a Texas Southern guy. Because we keep bringing all these guys from the outside to try to run our program. And Texas Southern is a special place, Coach. And I really, truly, honestly think that Texas Southern is the best program in the SWAC. You're sitting in a city of 4 million people. You 10, 15 minutes from downtown. You got all these Fortune 500 companies that's sitting around there. You got 150 high schools within 50 miles of the school, But we continue to go outside, since I've been there since 1981, we keep going outside. We go outside and get a president. We go outside to get a head football coach, vice president. Texas Southern has graduated some great people. Texas Southern has been one of the second largest universities. I know when I was there, one campus only. So we put out a lot of graduates. And I keep telling my people and alumni, people give money to people. Bill Cosby didn't go to Morehouse, Clark, Stillman. He went to Temple. But he met these people in his career, black folks in his career, so he was able to give money back. Denzel Washington didn't go to Morehouse, but he sent his kid there. People give money to people. And at my school, we don't like each other, Coach. For some reason. For some reason, we feel that we need to go outside, and we got some great coaches that has came through the university and has went on and done some good things. And I just really feel that we need, especially at this time. We got the alumni boiling. We came off some bad seasons. We paid 2 gentlemen that coached on the Division 1A level. Division 1A level that knew football, Coach McKinney, he knew football, and the coach before him, I can't think of his name, you know who I'm talking about, coached at Notre Dame, Texas, LSU, Miami University, actually won the MAC conference. You know what I'm saying? Would you say that guy knows football?
Oh yeah, Coach. He definitely knows football.
But does he know HBCU culture? I ain't saying football, because football is the same. The field is still 100 yards long, 50 yards wide. You know what I'm saying? And folks holler, I see somebody say, TSU need a campus, a football stadium on campus. You got to win. You can't be a perennial loser and ask for stuff. You got to win. And we gave our, even as the athletic director, we finally got it right of hiring one of our own as the athletic director. And he's making some moves, and he understands the Texas Southern way. But of course, when I was there, we had a great football program going. The athletic department, who didn't have our best interests at hand, so, and he made some moves, administrator made some moves that were wrong moves, Coach. They backfired on us.
Absolutely, Coach.
I mean, in 13 years since I've been gone, Coach, we 35 and 96.
Wow.
35 and 96. We hired Kevin Ramsey. Great coach, great defensive coordinator. He was my defensive coordinator, finished top in the country. Coached at Tennessee, Georgia. He know football. Okay? Then we went and got Durrell Ashbury, coached over with Jackson State. Coached at Jackson State, came from South University, but he didn't understand Texas Southern culture. He didn't understand Texas, And then we got Mike Haywood, and that's who I want to say. Me and Mike started this game together. Mike coached at great schools. I say LSU, Michigan State. He didn't know Texas Southern culture, And then, of course, we got Clarence McKinney, who done the best he could do. Those players loved it. But at the end of the day, Coach, you got to win.
You got to win, Coach.
You know, you can't go ask alumni for money when you don't win. You can't go ask alumni for money when you don't do what you're supposed to do with the money. You know what I mean? You know,
Hey, Coach.
so there we go, Coach. I just wanted to get that out.
No, absolutely, Coach. Now, moving forward, there's some huge games. We don't have a lot of games this week on week 13, but we got some big games, some huge games. No, though this night is a huge game in the football, determining the outcome of the SWAC. But many years, this game determined who would be the SWAC champion right here. But this is a big game, a huge game culturally, Coach. Can you explain what this game, and can some of our callers call in and explain what the Bayou Classic means culturally for those people like me who are just getting into it? You got a guy that says this one is the granddaddy of them all.
I coached in this game under Pete Richardson 3 straight years, and we beat Pete Richardson is the only coach that beat Grambling every year. And we had 75,000, Coach, 75,000 up in the dome, and it fell off. You know, when you get rid of a Doug Williams, in the middle of the year, which is following Grambling, then now Grambling is hiring all these different guys. The game fell off. Southern has always been Southern. They're going to show up. You know what I mean? And when Grambling got away from hiring Grambling people, like your Melvin Spears and your Doug Williams and your Fobs, stuff fall off, Coach. But this is a big, huge game. This is Louisiana, Coach. This is gumbo. Who makes the best gumbo? Who makes the best boudin? Who fries the best turkeys? Coach, this is huge. I loved this game. You can feel the intensity, Coach, of this game.
I've heard people explain that this is not like some rivalries where it's a war, where it's people who hate each other. This is a family affair. This is like your country cousins coming to the city, is what this is from a Southern night now. So I'm not, don't take me wrong. This is like when your country cousins come to the city and you spend time with your country cousins in the city. That's what this is like. This is not about hate. This is not about any of that. Of course, they're going to talk noise just like they do at the domino and the spades table at the family reunion or during the holidays. But at the end of the day, this is a celebration of Black culture.
This is the flavor and the culture of Black college football. And we've got away from that. We started trying to run and be like PWI. Eddie Robinson used to get up on that microphone on pregame show, man, and he have everybody falling out. Marino Casum and those guys used to get on that mic, man, and they have everybody falling out, Coach. People came to see the coaches as well as the great players that played in this game, Coach. I got to get Doug Williams on to talk about this game with him. Great friend of mine. But Coach, this game is just one of the top games that you throw the records out. Throw the records out, Coach. Both teams gonna play hard. Both teams gonna get after it, and I take my hat off to both schools. And what the Sugar Bowl is doing, and the New Orleans is trying to get people and raise money. They had a big banquet just the other day to get this game back going where it should be, because they make money off this game. The city of New Orleans used to bank off this game, Coach. It be jam-packed like the Sugar Bowl.
Well, this is one. So, Coach, I'm familiar with this game, because my one of my sisters graduated from Southern, and the other reason why, Coach, I'm familiar with this game is because they used to play this game on television each and every year
on ABC.
On ABC, Coach, and I think they still do, if I'm not mistaken. And this is one of the games where you could get the black. They got the bands, the black college culture. It's a lot of pageantry around this game. This is one of the bigger games in black college football. Unfortunately, this year there's nothing on the line other than the culture. But I think that's what Southern was frustrated with this game not meaning anything. And unfortunately, Coach Dooley won't get to coach in the Bayou Classic. And let me ask you this, Coach, as we talk about this. What is the mindset of letting a coach go before the end of the season? Why would you do that as an administrator moving forward?
Well, sometimes, it depends on the administrator. If he's got a small group, and you're going in the season and you have some idea of what you want to do with the program, you should. Because if you're putting pressure on the coach and he don't meet his expectations, then you got a small window to go out and try to get the best coach before somebody else gets it. And that's one of the reasons why that you would let a coach go, or some is going so horrible in the program that you got to immediately move that person out of that position, so you can move forward, because it all depends on recruiting as well. The quicker you move that coach out, the quicker you can get another coaching staff in, get their stuff established, and won't waste a recruiting year. So all that has something to do with it as well. And then, of course, the things behind the scenes where the head coaches are talking to the administration and maybe the meeting blows up. And then somebody said, look, we need to get rid of this guy right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, this next game, Coach, as you alluded to earlier, NCCU did get a berth in the FCS playoffs. They play their first round opponent is the Richmond Spiders. The interesting thing about the Richmond Spiders, they've already played 3 HBCUs and have lost to 2 of them. They're 8-3, but 2 of their losses are to HBCUs, Morgan State and Hampton, for which both of them, those schools, are in the MEAC. So with that being said, Coach, what do you think about NCCU's chances traveling to Richmond to get the victory?
Well, first of all, you got to travel to Richmond. And I remember when we were at Tennessee State, we went to the FCS playoffs, and, they bid on those games, Rocky. It's about money. They bid on those games. They don't go by the record, because if they went by the record, you would think that North Carolina Central, they would be visiting North Carolina Central instead of Central going there. So that's the money issue, and that's the money part for people wondering why North Carolina Central is going to Richmond. So, we believe in Trey Oliver. I think he'll have his kids ready to rock and roll, to go. And this is a big game for the black college culture, HBCUs. We all need to be behind NCCU. And hopefully they get after it and go to round 2.
Well, Coach, let me ask you this. With Richmond already losing to 2 HBCUs, is this win going to have the impact that normally an HBCU win in the playoffs would be, with these schools already have losing to Hampton, which is in the CAA? I was corrected by Clarence Kenny. Thank you very much, Clarence, for correcting me on that. And a Morgan State team that's really finished middle of the pack in the MEAC. Is this win going to?
I think anytime a HBCU beat a PWI school, it's a feather in our cap. Because so oftentimes we don't, whether it's the playoff or whether it's the regular season, we don't beat PWIs on a regular basis. There's only been one head coach that done that, and that's been L.C. Cole and at Tennessee State back in the 90s. So anytime that we get an opportunity to be the PWI, it had to go off to that coaching staff, and had hopefully that it would give HBCUs respect that we do coach football over here.
Now, Coach, let me ask you this: we won't have to, provided NCCU wins, we won't have to ask that question whether the impact of NCCU beating the Idaho team, because that's who's waiting on them on the other side is, if I'm not mistaken, Idaho. And if they defeat, I think it's Idaho. I may be wrong about that, but there's no doubt about it. If they beat a team like Idaho, then that's traveling cross country, probably playing in one of the premier, coming out of one of the premier. Oh, Albany. My correction, Albany. They're going to play the University of Albany. Historically,
that's up in New York. Ain't that up in New York?
Yeah.
It's gonna be cold.
Yeah, it's gonna be cold.
And like I said, anytime, man, that you get in that playoffs, Coach, man, it's an experience, Rocky. We went 2 years in a row at Tennessee State. It's just experience, man, that's out of this world, man. Just how they treat you, it's chance, you travel, fly in there. It's just a great treat, man. And those people treat you so well, and then you get to see the difference between these PWI schools and your school. You get to see the difference. I'm gonna take one out your book. You got your hand on the money side.
Oh yeah.
They take football serious. They take football serious. Even at that level. They take the money that they have and they make the best of it, and they don't waste the money. They don't waste it. They put it back into the program and make sure that program is big time. And
Clarence Kenny is saying that Morgan gave Albany a pretty tough game, 14-7. So again, but NCCU has to get through this game. This is definitely a winnable game, Coach, with Davius Richards and NCCU has a chance in this game, and I can't wait to watch it on Saturday. I'm looking forward to it, watching the game on Saturday. Coach, in our last game that we'll highlight this week is a Division II playoff game. And if I'm mistaken, this is the only black school in Division II that's in the playoffs. This is Benedict against Lenoir-Rhyne. And what do you think about this one, Coach?
Well, this is a big game for Chennis Berry of Benedict. To get some respect that, some people say, well, he's beating the best of the worst. He's been 10-0 2 straight years back to back. It's a big game. It's a big game for him on directing probably where he want to go. You hear his name flying up everywhere. It's a big game for him, without a doubt. And I hear Benedict is doing some things to try to keep him there. And I would too if I was the AD or the president. So,
where is Lenoir-Rhyne located, Coach? Where is that school located?
That's a good question, Coach. I've heard of the school, but I don't know where it's located.
Okay. If any of you guys out there, any of you human encyclopedias know where Lenoir-Rhyne is located, please let me know. I'd love to know where this school is. I've heard of the school. I just don't know where they're located. So
y'all huh? Yeah.
Hey, Coach, this has been another amazing show, Coach. And for this, for those of y'all, if y'all wonder, we're taking all of the HBCUs. Oh, okay, Coach. We know we're gonna take the HBCUs in this game and those other games, but in this game, who you got, Coach?
Oh, you got to go with Grambling, man. Southern going in the game with no general. You know, so but you know, Terrence Graves, you know, he coached Grambling last year and they won. So now he's on the southern side, taking over their job, you know, again. So is he gonna be 2-0 or is he gonna be 1-1? I don't know.
Hey, Coach, I think I'm with you on this one. I'll take Grambling. Hey, Coach, this has been an amazing show, Coach. Again, earlier we want to also thank Coach Eric Dooley for coming on and spending some time with us, answering some questions, and really sharing with us how his experience was at Southern. We recognize that it's these are the holidays, and he just recently was removed from his job, and so it was gracious of him to come on the show and talk about his experience on Southern, Coach. And so this is another great show. We'll be back here next week.
And let me say this. Lenore Ryan is in Hickory, North Carolina.
In Hickory, North Carolina.
Right. And I always remember before we get off, you know, only thing about firing those coaches, if you do not have a winner in mind to replace them, with the results will be the same with a different face. That's the coach. If you don't have nobody to replace the losing coach, and then you get back out there and you try to shuffle around and find a guy, you 9 times out of 10, you're going to find the wrong guy. You know what I'm saying? So,
hey, Coach. Now, Coach, I don't think you share this sentence. You say no decent coach wants to bring his family to Baton Rouge. I know a coach that'll bring his family to Baton Rouge and win.
And win. Hey, look, and I lived there before. I used to live off of Florida and Airline across from Katana Mall. Yeah, I would love to live in Baton Rouge, man, and have them fans like that, Coach. Shh. Man, let me tell you something, Coach. Man, that thing there, that coaching at Southern University, man, is a treat. It's a treat. You know, people love that university.
Hey, Coach, I think it's time for you to take us out of here, Coach. We don't have any calls. I'm shutting the call line down. It's time for you to take us out of here, Coach.
Man, it's been a great show. Thank you guys for continuing to follow us. Continue to call in. Continue to hit that subscribe button down there. And, hey, it's Christmas time. It's holidays. Enjoy your family no matter what you're going through. If you're going through something, at the end of the day, tie a knot and hold on tight because ain't nobody bad like you.